You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, you probably don't know this unless you were subscribed to Black and White Sports 2, but we covered a lot of Raiders drama over the last couple of years, all around the Josh McDaniels hiring, Davante Adams blowing up, Antonio Pierce blowing out, the whole thing, the entire crash out situation. A lot of that started when we started really covering John Gruden's untimely demise there, which should have never happened, but did. And now their superstar defensive end, Maxx Crosby, well, he's coming out and peeling back the curtain on drama that was happening at the time and why Davante Adams ended up being so damn disgruntled. And I think people forget this. Davante Adams was one of the driving forces for wanting Josh McDaniels fired. And then he ended up having an issue with Antonio Pierce, the guy that he lobbied to have hired. All right, so that's a warning to the LA Rams and their fans. And evidently he wasn't happy with the Jets either. But it all stemmed from Josh McDaniels and Derek Carr. Very interesting. Now, look, Derek Carr and Davante Adams played together at Fresno. When this acquisition happened, everybody did the whole, oh, this is going to be real nice, until it wasn't. Now, I almost blame Josh McDaniels for some of this in the fact that I never understood how he couldn't get his offense and Derek Carr to work together. All right? But I do think Josh is one of the greatest offensive minds, but it's baffling because Mac Jones, I do like Mac Jones, but Mac Jones looked good in Josh McDaniels' offense as a rookie. And I don't know if it's Derek Carr doesn't like these really intricate timing and rhythm kind of offenses and all the things that you've got to know in that it's a very complicated, it's known to be the most complicated offensive system in the league. That's why so many receivers, veterans with the Patriots like Chad Johnson, he got to the Patriots and couldn't learn the offense. You know? But Maxx Crosby peels back the curtain. The other news that's going to come here is pretty wild. I don't know if you know this, but there is a Glory Days DAZE podcast with Johnny Manziel. I did not know that existed. I'm going to check that out now. Crosby said the turning point with Davante Adams was the even bigger turning point with Derek Carr. Quote, it just didn't turn out the way we expected, Crosby said of Adams' time with the Raiders. You know what I mean? Davante comes in. Josh McDaniels comes in one of the best offensive minds in the league. Him and Derek Carr were together at Fresno. It just seems like it's almost too good to be true. And then the Derek situation didn't work out. He gets benched at the end of the year. He didn't even finish the whole season with Davante, and then he's out of here, Crosby said. So it's like, that's when I feel like it started with Davante's situation, was like, okay, now Derek's gone. Now what the F is the plan? That's his guy. You know what I mean? So I feel like after that, it is kind of where things got rocky. It's no doubt. I said then, that's going to be a problem. Davante Adams hasn't been shy about sharing his feelings on his former team, and he fired another shot at the Raiders last week, comparing the culture in Los Angeles to what he experienced in 3 years with the Raiders. Adams didn't mince words last week. Quote, everybody's in a good mood with the Rams. It's not a dark cloud over the building. Adams told ESPN NFL Nation reporter Shara Barshop. Okay. And I've experienced that quite a bit over the last few years. So it's a glaring difference when you come into a building like this. In December, while the situation in New York was falling apart for Adams and Aaron Rodgers with the Jets, Adams compared playing with the Raiders like showing up to a gunfight with a knife. Yikes. It's really frustrating, but it was the right thing to do. Adams added about the situation to leave the Raiders. It made sense. Nobody can look at this move and say it made more sense for me to stay in Vegas in the situation I was in there. If they do, then they're just hating. Okay, here we go with that crap. And just talking like how they do. If you look at the numbers, it's like if you are going to war and somebody's saying you got a knife and everybody else got rifles, then somebody finds a rifle, they hand you a rifle, you start going and you go to shoot the rifle, it jams up. That's like saying, I should have just kept the knife. No, you did the right thing by grabbing the rifle. It just didn't work out the way you intended it to. Sometimes that happens and you got to live with that. Good God. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes with L.A. Look, Sean McVay's a very sort of bubbly players coach kind of guy. Do I think Davante Adams is probably going to be happier out there? Yeah. We also got to remember with the Josh McDaniels situation, part of that whole thing was the fact that Tom Brady was supposed to come to the Raiders and be their quarterback. All right. That's the reason, and we forget about this, that it may be one of the biggest reasons why Derek Carr was benched and then let go. There was also a contract that was tied to that too, that I think the Raiders really wanted to try to wash their hands up. But Tom Brady was supposed to go there and be the quarterback with Josh McDaniels. And then when that fell through, all of a sudden Brady decided to retire. And next thing you know, he's like, oh shit, I need a Patriots quarterback. He signed Jimmy Garoppolo, and that didn't work out. He really wanted to have kept Jarrett Stidham. Josh McDaniels a big Jarrett Stidham guy, and by the way, when he played for the Raiders, didn't look too bad. Frank, at times, Jarrett Stidham has looked downright good. Sean Payton loves him. But there were a lot of things that did not work out for Josh McDaniels. Tom Brady retiring is where that ship started going downhill quick. All right? So that's something to remember in all this. I'm not sure everybody even knows that Tom Brady was going to the Raiders. They thought everything was lined out, ready, and then all of a sudden, boom, Brady retired. This was after the Buccaneers. And I think Josh thought he was getting Brady for like 2 seasons. Interesting. It's nuts. You're about to see the Patriots offense do some real shit this year with Josh McDaniels. But I'm not going to defend Josh in the fact that he's one of these guys, and I caution Bears fans with Ben Johnson. He's one of these guys that is a great OC, great offensive mind. He's just a coordinator, a really damn good coordinator. That's it. And the head coach thing, like Norv Turner, it didn't work out. Davante Adams, and I knew the moment I found out they were benching Derek Carr, I thought to myself, oh, well, Davante Adams is going to be mad as hell. Evidently, he was. That was the whole reason he went to the Raiders, was to play with Derek Carr. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.